Hello and welcome to all of our guests and listeners. My name is Alex and I work with the community team here at Caduceus. So I'm delighted to be here today. Thank you all so much for joining, for our speakers and our listeners. Now, we've got a lot of questions to go through today, or a few questions, which I'm really interested to hearing the answers. We've got some great guests to go over them all. So before we get into those questions, I will allow these guests to introduce themselves. So if we could actually maybe go in that order and start with Multichain, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, my name's Jason, and I'm the integration developer of Multichain. I'm talking on behalf of our business lead, Lotus, today, and nice to talk to you guys.
That's great. Thank you very much. And if we can then pass over to XP.NETWORK, that would be brilliant.
Hey guys, I'm Dima Brook, the CTO of XP.NETWORK. We are a non-fungible token bridge between about 30 chains right now, and many of those are non-EVMs. So we'll talk about that later today. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Please go ahead, Jakub. TowerSwap next, please.
My name is Jakub. I'm talking on behalf of TowerSwap today. So TowerSwap is the first decentralized exchange on Caduceus blockchain. So we are trying to bring in different EVM compatible users to TowerSwap. Thank you, guys.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And also we may at some point, I will mention now, as I did before, we may at some point also have Lexi from CoinSwap joining us if we can sort out some technical issues there. But if not, we'll continue as we are. So just in case you're new here, I'll do a short brief about Caduceus. So Caduceus is a layer 1 blockchain dedicated to metaverse development that offers up to 100,000 TPS and basically non-existent gas fees, all powered by the centralized edge rendering. Of course, to find out more about Caduceus, please do follow our socials, join in our community and look out for the latest news and updates. Now, today we've got a really interesting discussion. The topic for today is accelerating cross-chain asset liquidity, cross-chain bridge technology and liquidity mining. So, very relative to obviously everything that's going on at Caduceus, some of our speakers and their projects here. So again, really looking forward into getting into this one today. So let's have a look. With Multichain, maybe if we could ask you to start off with the first question and go in the same order as we did before, that would be brilliant, just to keep things nice and easy. So the first question that's actually came in is, how does cross-chain asset liquidity affect the free flow of assets, market efficiency and user experience in the DeFi ecosystem? So if I could pass that over to you, Jason, Multichain. And again, I will mention sometimes the answers are quite long. If anybody needs me to repeat the question, please just let me know.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. I'll briefly answer this question in two aspects: the free flow of assets and the market efficiency. So these two questions are quite tricky. As like a cross-chain bridge operator from Multichain myself, we know that the free flow of asset is very important for a new chain or any chains to get developed. For example, if Ethereum is only available on Ether versus it's available on Ether, on Ethereum and BSC, the difference in utility and liquidity would be huge. So the free flow of asset is very important. The emphasis is on free flow here, as in like there's a decentralized way to bridge the asset through to another chain to provide liquidity. And in terms of like market efficiency, the more these free flow methods and decentralized chain bridges allow the assets to flow through each chain, the more efficient the market would be. To achieve a truly efficient market, we need natively multi-chain swap and multi-chain assets on all chains. So that's my 2 cents.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. Dima, do you have anything that you can add to that from the XP.NETWORK's perspective?
Yes, sure. Sure. Well, we are not a fungible token bridge, so the question of liquidity in terms of fungible tokens is not applicable to NFTs because they're all unique. But in the other meaning of this word, liquidity as flexibility of the token to be moved between owners, there it is applicable. And we view the situation like this: like every market and every blockchain is a market. Needs at least 3 things to be successful. So first of all, it's the solvent demand for goods or services. And NFTs, even though in the beginning of their career, if we can put it so, NFTs were used for speculation, for just creating an asset and then trading it and hoping that somebody will buy it for a higher price. In fact, the meaning of NFTs is much deeper than this. It is an instant registration of ownership rights for something, for goods or services. So NFTs can be treated as goods that are traded in the Web3 markets. And as such, they can represent something that people need. And then if there is a demand for this something that is represented by this NFT, then this is the first condition that the market can flourish, having it in the market. So first of all, it's the responsibility of the NFT projects to create something that is valuable to people, either because it gives you an entry to a game, or it gives you some features that others don't have without this asset, or it can be something from the physical world. For example, some companies start selling tickets for events as NFTs. And there is a unique use case, for example, Austrian Post, which are just a mail service. They, instead of printing out stamps, they create NFTs, and you can buy an NFT. And then with this NFT, you can actually you can send a physical letter, and they will accept it as a payment. So this is something where we all should go to. And so for a good market, we need a solvent demand for such goods or services represented by NFTs. So the second, it should be the sufficient supply of what is in demand, meaning the goods or services. So there should be suppliers such as NFT collections or projects that mint the rights for their services or goods as NFTs. They should supply something that the market needs, and it should be of high quality. And what the bridge adds here is it adds the third part, which is healthy competition. So if an ecosystem like Caduceus, for example, has several projects, they can be pretty reluctant because there's no competition, and whatever they do will be consumed because there's nothing else. But with the bridge, they have to think, okay, what do we have to do to be better than our competitors? Because now we are open to the entire market, to the global ecosystem. And on the other hand, they can view the situation differently. They can say, okay, we have better ideas than people have on other chains. So we can repeat our success in Caduceus and take it elsewhere, and we can multiply our success by as many chains as we can reach with the help of the bridge. And that makes the question of liquidity, like it raises it to the new level, right? Now their tokens become liquid not only within the Caduceus ecosystem, but globally, and vice versa. Some cool projects from other chains can now come to Caduceus ecosystem and can boost trades in this ecosystem because of the quality of the goods or the services that they provide. So this is a two-way stream. Besides, every NFT that we bridge, it always has the name of the chain where it was initially created, initially minted. So when NFTs from Caduceus go to other chains, the name of Caduceus will be in every marketplace where this NFT exists. And it will spread the word about Caduceus, and everybody will see, so there is this ecosystem. There are cool projects there. Why not go to Caduceus? So it's even natural or organic advertisement of the ecosystem itself. So this is how the bridge makes everything more liquid.
Thank you, Dima. That was a really, really insightful answer, actually. And you mentioned some points there that I haven't even thought about before. So it just makes me even more excited about, obviously, the future of all the possibility of cross-chain and bridging and where everything's going. So no, thank you. It's very insightful. To all of our listeners, Lexi has just joined us. So Lexi, what I would do is I would ask you to speak next. I will let you have a little introduction of yourself, and I'll read out the question for you again. The question was, how does cross-chain asset liquidity affect the free flow of assets, market efficiency, and user experience in the DeFi ecosystem? So, yeah, Lexi, if you want to introduce yourself and then have a go at answering that question, that would be brilliant.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me now?
Yep, can hear you.
All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry about late. Yeah, problem of my internet before. Yeah. So
No
let
problem. You're here with us now.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Let me just briefly introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Lexi, and I'm the community manager of the CoinSwap.com. I'm thrilled to be here today to participate in this discussion. You know, CoinSwap is the first DeFi one-stop services platform on Caduceus, and we commit to build the first decentralized one-stop financial services platform in metaverse. As someone who works in the decentralized financial space, I'm very passionate about exploring ways to improve cross-chain interoperability and enhance liquidity for different assets. I believe that the topics will be discussed today are crucial, and I'm looking forward to share my perspectives and learning from all of you. Thank you. And for the questions, I think like in the DeFi ecosystem, asset utilization is essential, and the product competitiveness arise from increasing the utilization of user assets. So like today, with the emergence of like multiple chains and the prosperity of the ecosystem, the utilization of cross-chain asset liquidity is a highly potential arena. So firstly, cross-chain asset liquidity enables user to move asset, seamlessly across different blockchain networks, allowing for greater flexibility and access to a broader range of assets. This creates a more open and connected DeFi ecosystem, which benefit both users and projects by increasing the numbers of potential transactions and users. And secondly, cross-chain asset liquidity enhance market efficiency by reducing the risk associated with limited liquidity on individual blockchain networks. It provides more significant liquidity pool for assets, which can help reduce transaction fees and this kind of things, making trading more cost effective and efficiency. Lastly, cross-chain asset liquidity positively impacts users' experiences by increasing the numbers of assets can be traded and accessible of the DeFi ecosystem. This allows users to diverse their portfolios and find better opportunity for investment. As a decentralized exchange operator, we are committed to provide our users with access to the most comprehensive range of assets possible. Regard of their native blockchain networks as an ecological partners, as a a DEX. We are also very happy to see the grand launch of the Caduceus bridge and look forward to the establishment of more cross-chain asset trading pairs, on CoinSwap.com to build a healthy and robust DeFi ecosystem. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Lexi, for your introduction and your answer to that question. Again, another great answer. And Jakob from TowerSwap, apologies. If you've got anything to add to that, please do.
Okay. I think Lexi have actually said most of what I wanted to say. So he gave a brilliant answer to all those questions. So let me just add to that. As we all know, cross-chain bridging technology actually plays a critical role in promoting cross-chain asset liquidity. So there are several type of can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. Continue.
Okay, yeah, okay. So by enabling the seamless transfer to assets between different blockchain network. So as we all know, on cross-chain, it also allows assets to move from one chain to another without the users using a centralized exchange or other intermediaries. So probably in the future, we can expect to see further advancement in cross-chain bridging technology that will continue to promote the development and innovation of cross-chain asset liquidity. For example, we may see the emergence of new type of bridging technologies that are more efficient, that are more secure, that are more scalable than existing solutions. So we may also increase the collaboration between different blockchain network like CMP versus all these EVM compatible network. Also, which could actually include to lead more interoperability and standard across different blockchain. So talking more about that, we can actually say cross-chain bridging technology is very, very important and essential for promoting cross-chain asset liquidity. And also we can expect to see continued development and innovation in the areas. For instance, people like our users actually don't need to use what's it called, to use a centralized exchange. So they can, instead of using a decentralized exchange for, like, we all know what happened to FTS the last time. So a lot of users are actually afraid of using decentralized exchange. So instead of that, the innovation of using the creation of using a decentralized exchange like CoinSwap, like TowerSwap, has actually bring in a more opportunity for users to save their fund. So we all know that they may find it challenging to engage users from various blockchain, which can hinder their development and limit its success. So using a cross-chain can actually bring in more trust, more scalable to the ecosystem as a whole. Thank you very much. That's what I can add for now.
No, thank you, Jakub. That was a great addition. It's always hard to go last on a question when you've got such brilliant speakers in front of you as well, covering a lot of the points. So no, you've done really well there. Thank you. We can move on to the second question, actually. That would be brilliant. And you know, Multichain, Jason, Multichain, we could maybe start with yourself and go in the same order. What role does cross-chain bridging technology play in promoting cross-chain asset liquidity? And how can you see it developing in the future? For example, how might these advancements promote the development and innovation of cross-chain asset liquidity? And that's for you, Jason, sorry.
Yeah, I'll take this question. Yeah. So I think like cross-chain bridging technology in the future wouldn't just be a connector. It would be like enabler. So it would allow for things that's like never possible in these few years. So with like any call, it's like our cross-chain messaging protocol. It allows for like contract invocation from chain A to chain B. So you send a message on chain A, and then the contract on chain B would trigger. With these kind of technology, bridging wouldn't be like sending asset from chain A to chain B anymore. Your asset can be at chain A and B at the same time. You can stake your ETH on Ethereum, and then you can have the staked ETH available on another chain for like lending purposes. So I feel like these kind of advancement and the push of like faster confirmation, the reduction of chain reorg, which is a big problem of like current chains at the moment. If we eliminate all this, the instantaneous experience users will have would change their mindset and UX when interacting with DeFi protocols in the future. So more and more liquidity will flow in from the UX improvement.
Thank you very much. That all sounds like very exciting stuff. Dima, is there anything that yourself and XP would like to add to that?
Oh yeah, sure. So I can agree with the previous speaker that a cross-chain bridge is an enabler, and it really enables a lot of things. Well, first of all, projects can seamlessly migrate from one chain or even one protocol to another. By protocol, I mean a whole type of chains like EVMs or chains based on Cosmos or chains based on Polkadot and so on. So with the bridge, at least with our bridge, if you want to migrate an NFT collection, you don't have to build anything on the other side as a project, which saves tons of developer hours, tons of money. You just bridge your collection there, and the bridge does all the job. It deploys a contract according to the rules of the target chain, and it mints NFTs according to the standards of the target chain, regardless of where you're coming from. So it works like an adapter. And what it gives to the community and to the chain is that, first of all, that the team of Caduceus can now speak with the projects who started on other chains, and they can almost effortlessly migrate to Caduceus and start developing there, at least their NFT collection. Of course, if they want to build something around it, like a game or something else, then they would have to do it because it's not part of the bridging process. But the collection will already be there, and they will be able to list it in the marketplaces. They will be able to start selling it. They will be able to already communicate it to the ecosystem. And that actually raises the bar for the projects that already reside in Caduceus. So if anyone from any other chain with very high quality projects can come, then it's a push for the residents to improve themselves, to improve what they're offering to the community in order not to lose the market. And there's again another side to this medal. Now, the native projects shouldn't be intimidated that our community is pretty small, so why create a huge collection? Nobody will ever buy it. So now there's no such problem. You can create collections of thousands of tens of thousands of NFTs or hundreds of thousands, and then because of the bridge, you can always be sure that you can move part of your collection to other protocols and then sell it there. So that's what the bridge gives you.
Thanks, Nima. It definitely gives you a lot of options. And even as you were speaking through there, there's a lot of things sort of going on in my head with some of the projects that I hold and things and ways that they can expand and really take advantage of this. So, no, some really cool points there. Lexi, do you have anything to add from that or from CoinSwap perspective?
Okay, I think Diman has actually said a lot. So the future of cross-chain bridging will be for just people bridging from one let me just say layer 1 to a layer 2, or from bridging from a layer 1 to a layer 1. So in the future, it might just be the work of a smart contract. So people will just, all you just need to do is just do what you wanted to do, provide liquidity, or do what you wanted to do immediately, and the smart contract will actually do that for you. So that's just what I see, and there will be a lot of, there will be more scalable, then more security, and then more decentralization coming to the cross-chain bridging. So that's actually what I can add, because my other guys like Diman and the other guys have actually said a lot about it. So that's what I'm going to add. Thank you.
No, not a problem at all. And again, a great addition. Thank you so much. Lexi, are you with us? Would you like to add anything to that from CoinSwap or your own perspective? Tumbleweeds. Okay, let's move on.
If we didn't go too far, before we went too far, and there's a room for a question, since the speakers can't actually say something, I have a question to the previous speaker, to the speaker previous to me. Is it okay?
Absolutely, Dima. Please, anything like that, go ahead.
Yeah, the speaker said that fungible token bridges, as far as I understand, will enable people to have tokens on both chains simultaneously. But doesn't it contradict the principles of non-asset duplication and double spending? If not, maybe I just misunderstood something from your speech. Could you please explain that? Because it's really an interesting concept, and I just wanted to understand it better.
Yeah, so what I mentioned is like, let's use the example of staked ETH. So if I have if I want to interact with Venus on BSC, and I have staked ETH on ETH chain, so with like cross-chain messaging protocol, you can stake your ETH natively on ETH chain, get some sort of wrapped asset, and then use use the proof of that asset, lock it in a contract, and then and then let's say land from Venus on BSC. So that's what I mean. Like, you can utilize asset from chain A even though you're on chain B without actually moving the asset across.
Right, and while your Ether is locked there, you're getting some APY or APR alongside.
Yeah, you're staking the
you're
Ether
using
on
this
Ethereum. Yeah,
this like liquidity provider coin somewhere else. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're getting the native validator reward, but you can use the asset on BSC as well. That's what I that's
okay. Got
what
it.
I
Got
mean.
it. Got it. Okay, got it. So it kind of is like asset duplication in like, if you think about it from the banker's perspective, let's say, right? But they also do the same. Like, they give you a loan, and then because you gave them an obligation in return, which is a contract that you will pay it back, it kind of creates an asset for the bank, and then they can show it to the central bank and say, look, we have this obligation from this guy, right? And they can borrow more money for this obligation, and this is how they make more money out of nowhere. So basically, it's pretty much the same here. Okay, thank you. Sorry for an instant question.
Honestly, no, I massively encourage it. It's always nice if the speakers have a question for another speaker. It encourages a little bit more conversation and a bit of a deep dive into it. So, no, absolutely, no need for apology at all, Dima. In time for the next question. So, Jason, again, if I could pop this to yourself. So, as we go through the questions, and again, our speakers have been sort of going through it in quite a lot of detail, there may be some points that come up which are somewhat similar you've already touched on, but just feel free to go over them again or touch up on it. So the next question is, how can economic incentives and risk management be designed within cross-chain liquidity against potential manipulation and malicious behavior in cross-chain liquidity mining? If I can pass that to yourself, Jason, that'd be great.
Yeah, this question is quite broad, but I'll answer this question with like an example. So what
That'd be great,
Curve
thank
is
you.
doing with our ecosystem is that they are, even though all the Curve is staked on Ethereum, they are using Anycall to send the votes of those Curve to other chains, which means like if I'm like a Curve locker, I can use Anycall to allocate my votes to chain B, chain C, and chain D, and then those chain B, chain C, and chain D would change their emission accordingly. So this is one way of like cross-chain. It's like an example of cross-chain liquidity providing. So, but in terms of like potential manipulation, again, we have to watch out for chain reorg. That's the biggest problem. And as we get more decentralized and more people are staking for their nodes, the chain reorg problem will be improved. But right now, it's still like a serious problem we need to talk about.
Thank you very much. I will actually pass that straight over to Dima. I thought I had a question myself, but I'll pass it over to Dima, and maybe I'll get my my own answer as we go through. Have you got anything to add to that, Dima, from yourself or XP.NETWORK's point of view?
Well, yeah, sure. So with NFTs, there are also many types of scams and different things that happen exactly because of the possibility of having multiple chains. Like, for example, not so long ago, OpenSea, which is the biggest marketplace in the world yet, according to Statista, for example, they are responsible for 87% of all the NFT sales in the world, at least whatever is tracked by Statista. And all the rest of the markets and all the other chains, they have like 13%, which is left from the OpenSea. Okay, so these guys, the OpenSea, they on every chain that they supported and they support, they had a smart contract of their own where people could just come and mint NFTs without even knowing how to code. Everything was done from their UI. And then eventually they had to close this, which happened quite recently. And the reason for that was that they figured out, because of the complaints of different collections, that 80% of all the NFTs that were minted in their contracts were fakes or were copies of collections from other chains. And when OpenSea started supporting more chains, including the ones from which those collections were stolen, they figured that out. And in NFT world, it's a very common thing that scammers, they think that if I mint the same collection on another chain, especially a different protocol, the protocol I already explained, I mean another type of blockchain, they hope that nobody will ever notice, or at least they will get a lot of money until somebody does. And that really happens. So when there is a bridge, there is actually this opportunity for the native collection of NFTs to spot those things, especially when you start bridging your collection to a foreign chain. You will find out that there is the same collection that you already had somewhere. Like we recently had a collection bridging from Elrond, which is now called Multiverse, non-EVM. We bridged it to Polygon, I think. And when they started setting their collection in the UI of OpenSea, they figured out that this name is already occupied by someone else. And when they opened that collection, it was exactly their collection, stolen from another chain. Of course, we opened the ticket, and of course, that collection was banned. But this is something that happens. And had we not bridged their collection, we would never have known that this happened. And so the bridge, it is itself a remedy from those scams. So the collections of NFTs should interact with the chain teams, especially the ones who want to develop their ecosystem, and with the bridges, actively market the fact that their NFTs are bridged from there, here or there, and the users have to know where the real collection is and where a fake was minted. And of course, the best tool to know is the address of the smart contract. So fake collections cannot have the same address as the one published on the official website of the collection. So this is one of the ways that they can how they can protect themselves. And bridging and communication is the best remedy for this. So if there is the real collection, which is promoted by the website, then the users will not be tricked to buy the same NFTs from people who did not create it in the first place. Especially it's a problem if this collection belongs to a game. So people think that by buying this NFT, they will get access to a game, they'll get a character, but in return they get nothing but lost money. So this is how we help solve the problem.
Thanks, Nemo. Again, a really insightful answer that got me thinking of a few things there. Really brilliant answers all round, actually. But before we go into it, Lexi, let's just do a quick mic check again. Are we back in the room? We've gone away. We've come back.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
Welcome back. Welcome back, my friend. Okay, so do you want me to read the question for you again?
Please, yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was, how can economic incentives and risk management be designed within cross-chain liquidity, against potential manipulation and malicious behavior in cross-chain liquidity mining? How can we mitigate against that?
All right. Thank you, Mike. Yes. So, I mean, for the Dima speaking, that was very inspiration and was like excellent insight. So it was like gave me inspiration as well. So as long as I'm concerned, I think, to start with this, it is essential to establish a set of well-designed mechanism, for liquidity mining, such as, like adjusting the balance of attribution conditions, rationalizing the vesting period and penalty, and the design locking mechanisms along other things to achieve like a long-term positive feedback loop. So in addition to considering the rate of precise calculation release and the dynamic balance of the entire system, perhaps we need to think about capturing the value of the native token, such as like implementing VE token architecture to increase the stability and aid more stackable financial. We must to be aware that designing a sustainable incentives model is very challenging and have many intrigued considerations that need to be taken into account. The key is to focus on the practical of the functions, which may be closely related to the development of the industry ecosystem. Penalty mechanisms are necessary for malicious behavior to mitigate against potential, manipulations and malicious behaviors in cross-chain liquidity mining. It is important to implement transparent and robust governance structures. This can include measures such as communities voting like system, which allows users to participate in decision making and help to prevent centralized control of the liquidity mining process. There may be a war for liquidity, but competition determined by the market will be more reasonable, favorable, and less problems for the monopoly, manipulation, these kind of things. Risk management also, can be designed by using measures such as impairment loss protection, which provide a safety net for liquidity providers against potential loss caused by market volatility. Additional, implementing fee structures are trading limited, can also help to manage risk and prevent potential losses. Furthermore, implementing security measures such as smart contract audits and ongoing monitoring can also help to identify and mitigate against potential risk and this kind of monopoly manipulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, you guys have given us a lot on sort of risk management and staying safe out there with this technology in mind. Jakob, again, sorry, you've had quite a good few answers before you. Have you got anything to add to this?
I guess the man actually talked about the open seas, which explained a lot to us. So what I can actually add to that is just we just need to put some lines and some guidelines to make sure that there won't be any manipulation, there won't be any malicious behaviors in designing an incentive and risk management in the cross-chain liquidity mining. So first of all, we can actually look for a way to incentivize the honest guys who are actually in the who actually stake and who is trying to also provide liquidity in the industry. So we also need to know that we need to implement some penalties for anybody who actually try to go against the rules, who try to do some fast running, who try to use some bots in using in going ahead or faster ahead of all those other users. So we can actually put a way to use some reputational system. We can look for a way to require and tell everybody to use a provide a staking platform and also to perform a regular audit, in the sense that regular audit of cross-chain liquidity mining mechanism can actually help to identify and prevent potential vulnerabilities and malicious behaviors. So audits can be to help to ensure that the economic incentives are properly aligned and that it is actually a risk appropriate managed. So providing a regular audit, maybe by the owner of the platform, shows that they need to know what is actually going on in the ecosystem, and to make sure maybe they are going to incentivize those that are not doing any malicious, those that are not involved in malicious doings in the blockchain, and those that are actually doing the right things in the blockchain. So that's actually what I can add. Thank you.
No, thank you again. Another great addition, Jakob. And we've only got time for a couple more questions today, but on the last question, I'm going to ask you to answer first. I feel like going last for everyone. I'll give you the opportunity to have a first answer. But we'll move on to the penultimate question. So the question is, and I can put to yourself again, Jason, at Multichain, is liquidity pools can provide better liquidity for different assets, thereby promoting cross-chain liquidity. However, liquidity pool design and management faces many challenges, such as liquidity asymmetry, the risk of asset price fluctuations, liquidity pool security. How do you view the advantages and challenges of liquidity pools, and what relevant solutions can you propose? For example, are there any new models or mechanisms that can better address these challenges? So it's quite a big question, that one, multiple questions, if not, I would say. But
I'll talk about this in terms of Uniswap V2 and V3 architecture, and I wouldn't discuss too much about order book structure because that's not the area I'm confident in. So in terms of V2 and V3 structure, the problem of a V3 structure is biggest complaint is the user managed liquidity problem. So V3 is very efficient, but the managing of the liquidity is quite complicated. So in the future, if people are still building on the V3 structure, the management solution will get better and better, and this management solution will essentially be cross-chain. Let's say you give me 10 Ether, and I deploy it on 10 different chains for you with different V3 range, allowing the most optimal ranges for each chain. So that's how I view the future of liquidity providing and management goal is V3 architecture on multiple chains managed by a protocol. So in terms of like new models and mechanism, that's my vision for the future. And I have to end my presentation here tonight because it's 12 here in Auckland, New Zealand. And I'm sorry I have to leave a bit early, but this was a great space and I had a great time with you guys.
No, not a problem at all. Thank you so much for all the time that you did put in today, and yeah, really appreciated everything you had to put in. So thank you so much, Jason and Multichain.
Thank you so much.
No problem. We look forward to seeing you on the next AMA. Right. So if we can just go with that same question to yourself, Dima, if you've got anything to add to that.
Of course I do. So, right. So for non-fungible tokens, there's usually no such thing as liquidity pools because NFTs are unique. So you cannot pool them together into some liquidity pool because there's nothing like it. At least that's what it's supposed to be, right? So of course, we never experienced anything like you guys have just been describing. But we experience things that you also have no idea about if you haven't done NFT bridging. And I'll tell you about that because I think that would be more relevant to what we are doing. And that would also inform you of something you probably haven't heard of before. So when you bridge NFTs, you know that different NFTs inside one collection, they have different rarities, depending on what quality, what properties they have here and there. And some NFTs are more rare than the others. And rarity, like the more rare the NFT is, the higher is the price of this NFT in this collection. But what happens is when you bridge only a part of the collection, then the marketplaces, they don't see the entire collection, which in statistics is called the population. They only see a sample of this collection. That sample is also a statistical term, which means a portion. And there's no guarantee that this portion will be representative. Representative means, for example, you have 3 super rare NFTs in the collection, you have 20 rare NFTs, and then the rest, right? So there's no guarantee that the bridged NFTs will be present in the sample in the same proportion as they were in the population, in the entire collection. And then the marketplace starts calculating its rarity in the wrong way. So for example, if you send the most rare NFT to a foreign chain, the marketplace on the foreign chain can think that it's absolutely not rare. See, that is the problem that NFT bridging has. It hasn't been solved like in a universal level. There are 2 solutions to this. It kind of relates to what you're talking about, liquidity pools, but it's very different, right? Because we're bridging different tokens. So solution number 1 is marketplaces shouldn't rely on the sample that they're viewing. They should go to the chain of origin. In our NFTs, in the metadata, in the wrapped metadata, there's always a link to the chain where it was originally minted, and even the smart contract where it originates from. So if marketplace has access to this type of protocols, they can go and compare the rarity of this NFT with the other NFTs inside the collection where it was originally minted. And then the rarity would be correct. Another way to solve the problem is to change the standard so that every NFT holds its rarity as a property. And then whenever you bridge it, you don't even have to recalculate everything because the team that initially created this collection, they already saw the entire population and they can accurately calculate the rarity. Of course, there's a third question because there are different methods of calculating rarity, but then maybe we also need a standard for calculating rarity. And then once it's commonly adopted, everybody will know how to calculate it correctly. And then that solves the problem. Well, right now, because of course nobody wants to bother, we are thinking about calculating rarity ourselves and then adding this field in the wrapped NFT that would actually show its rarity in the original collection, but it's also going to take some time because we have many obligations. We received 20 grants from different blockchains, and we're still in the middle of several of those. So once we are done with our obligations, maybe then we will think about solving this problem. Well, I hope I told you something you didn't know before.
You've been doing that all evening, actually, for myself, Dean, and it's very interesting to hear. Obviously, as a NFT collector myself, crypto investor, I've been for some years, maybe not quite as deep enrooted into the tech side of things as some of our speakers today, but it's really nice to hear some of these things and see what's happening and hear some of the problems that are emerging as the tech sort of grows and we develop and get further. Really insightful. Again, Dean, thank you so much. Lexi, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yes, appreciate the questions. Yeah, so from my perspectives, I think liquidity pools are a crucial component of the DeFi ecosystem, which providing a means to agreement and provide liquidity for different assets across multiple blockchain networks. Liquidity pools offer many advantages, such as a greater access to liquidity and a lower transaction cost. This one, I think most people a concern about lower transaction cost. It's about fees, and they also face several challenges that need to be addressed to ensure their stability and sustainability. One of the most significant changes facing liquidity pools is liquidity is what we mentioned before, is the liquidity asymmetry. This one occurs when one asset in a pool has significantly more liquid than the other, leading to slippage and reduced trading efficiency. To address this, some liquidity pools have implement dynamic pricing mechanisms, adjusting price based on demand and supply to prevent liquidity asymmetry. Another challenge is the risk of asset pricing, fluctuation. As assets in liquidity pools are subject to market, volatility, there is always the potential for the value of the pool to decrease, which can cause loss, liquidity providers for the providers. To address this, some liquidity pools have implement measures such as impermanent loss protection and dynamic fee structures, which for help mitigate potential loss. Liquidity pool security is also a crucial concern, as liquidity pools involves holding asset in smart contract. There are so many cases happened in hackings and other security bugs. To addressing this, liquidity pools should implement robust security measures, such as the most well-known a smart contract audit and ongoing monitoring. Yeah, this is what I considering according to the questions. Thank you.
No, amazing. Thank you so much, Lexi. There's a lot of information there again. And of course, last but not least, Jakob, do you have anything you'd like to add to this? Please go ahead.
Okay. I think all everybody have actually added. So Dima has talked and the other guys have actually explained some things that I need to say. So what I'm going to add is I'm just going to talk about the challenges, and I'm going to talk about the solution to address these challenges. As we all know that liquidity pool have many advantages, but they also face some significant challenges, so such as the dynamic pricing, security audits, and but most of all these can actually be solved by a decentralized governance. So for the challenges to be solved, so we need to know that every project or every token out there which actually creating a decentralized exchange and wanted to provide liquidity also need to know that they need a security audit. That is very, very important. So we need to check the last time, but that I think last week or this week or so, there is a platform on ZK-Zinc, which is called Mage. Mage actually raised a lot of amount of money, but during their pre-sale, I think they audited their smart contract with static, but still, even with auditing the smart contract, they still got attacked. So they lost all of what they've raised, one, and also they lose all the liquidity pool, which was actually drained out. So I think we just need to make sure, even after we audit our smart contracts, we also need to make sure that the company, like the project, also have an internal auditor. We can actually read the smart contract, even using some tools to audit the smart contract. So that's a solution to address the challenges of liquidity. So we can also use a decentralized governance. So in the sense that decentralized governance can help to ensure that liquidity pool are managed in a transparent and decentralized manner. So as we all know, that decentralized governance reducing the risk of manipulation, and also it promotes a greater community involvement, because we actually putting a decentralized governance there, we actually want our community to interact with whatever we are building. So we are seeking advice from our community. We at TowerSwap, this is what we do. We take some response from our community. We give them an option to choose. So whatever I decide on is what we do. So these are what are some of these solutions that we can actually put in place to address security risks. Thank you very much.
No, not a problem at all. That was really good, actually. And now I'm just thinking, we're going on to our last question here, Jakob. And seeing as you've had to go last all night, would you like to take this one first? So I'm going to pitch the question directly to you, and then we'll go to Dima and to Lexi to wrap things up. But the last question is that recently, some cross-chain protocols and DeFi platforms have introduced new features such as cross-chain lending and cross-chain trading. In this new cross-chain environment, what are the advantages and prospects for cross-chain lending and trading? And that is to yourself, Jakob, from TowerSwap.
Can you please recap the question, please? Sorry.
Yes, of course I can. So, recently, some cross-chain protocols and DeFi platforms have introduced new features such as cross-chain lending and cross-chain trading. In this new cross-chain environment, what are the advantages and prospects of these cross-chain lending and trading? That is.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the advantages. So I'm going to talk about the advantage of cross-chain lending, and I'm going to talk about let's just pick some little 3 to 2 advantages of cross-chain lending. First, we need to talk about the interest rates. So it's an advantage to a cross-chain lending. For instance, cross-chain lending can provide users with access to better interest rates, as they can actually leverage the assets across multiple chains to secure more favorable terms, and also to secure more funds for their own platform as well. So it also reduce counterpart risk. So like we all know that, okay, cross-chain lending reduce counterpart risk by allowing users to lend and also borrow from a broader pool of counterparties. So that's part of an advantage to them. It also improves liquidity in a cross-chain lending. So when we talk about the cross-chain lending, improving liquidity, so we can say cross-chain lending enable users to borrow and lend assets across different chains, which can significantly improve the liquidities for this asset. For instance, now you can actually borrow some liquidity from let me say Uniswap, then go to Ave and actually deposit. Maybe you notice that there's some interest, a good interest on Ave. You can actually deposit there and then gain some interest from it. So that's part of the advantages. So I can talk about the diversification. So cross-chain lending allows users to diversify their portfolio across multiple chains, reducing the exposure to any other particular chain's risk. Also, I'm going to talk about the advantage of cross-chain trading as well. So in terms of cross-chain trading, so we can actually talk about it, increased trading opportunities, it gives a better liquidity, it gives reduced transaction costs as well. So the prospects for cross-chain lending and trading are positive, as they have the potential to significantly improve liquidity, efficiently, flexibility for users, as more DeFi platforms adopt cross-chain counterparts. So we can expect to see an increase in the numbers and variety of cross-chain lending and trading opportunities. So we may see the emergence of new model and mechanisms such as the cross-chain marketplace and other. We can also talk about the improved users experience for cross-chain lending and trading. However, there are also different challenges associated with cross-chain lending and trading, such as the risk of liquidity that I've mentioned, the price fluctuation that I've mentioned, the security risks as well. So all these actually need to be put in place. So that's what I can say. That's a little bit I can actually say for now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jakub, and for all the answers today. Thank you to yourself and TowerSwap for representing. Honestly, brilliant. Demo as well, if I could pass. I won't ask if you've got anything to add, as I know you always do. So please do.
Well, you're not mistaken this time as well. Of course I do. So we as a bridge do not offer lending or borrowing NFTs because they usually don't belong to us. So what we do is we have a UI where people can just bridge their tokens, but we also have a TypeScript library that can be installed in a front end or back end as the project wishes. By the project, I mean a game, a marketplace, a metaverse, and then bridging can be done in the background. The users won't even have to know that this project is using XP.NETWORK Bridge. And then this project can offer lending, or for example, a marketplace with this tool can allow buying or selling NFTs from a foreign chain, like a marketplace on Caduceus, can enable trading NFTs from Near, for example, or Solana. So if somebody buys this NFT, they can potentially even buy it with the native token on Caduceus, if the marketplace accepts that. And then the marketplace buys the same token there on Solana, bridges it to Caduceus, and delivers it to the customer. So this is how we add to the topic. This is how people can use us to do what you were just describing. We also have a widget that anybody can also embed in like 10 minutes. And then they can do bridging inside a game, inside their website, and even get benefits for hosting this widget, meaning they can get a share of the transaction fees for bridging assets. And this is also something that can be done very quickly, very easily. And this also allows for freedom of moving assets between chains. And this is our impact. So basically, we allow everyone to earn using our infrastructure. And we think that building the infrastructure that we are building is better done by professionals, because as you all know, we all heard about bridges hacks, including this year. And usually millions or hundreds of millions are stolen. And when professionals build a bridge, then they make sure that it works as it should. While if a blockchain game or metaverse or marketplace starts doing something that they haven't done before, there's higher chance for them to be hacked than by someone who, for whom this is a core business. So this is our impact into lending and cross-chain trading.
Amazing. Again, another great answer from yourself, Dima. Really in depth, really insightful. So thank you so much. And Lexi, do you have anything you'd like to add for the final question of the day?
Oh yes, please. Thank you. Yeah. So I think this one is a really good question. So I think like a cross-chain lending and the cross-chain transactions actually provide like user with like a more simple and more efficiency like asset management tools. So which make like we can enrich asset allocation method and like improve asset utilization. This is a real demand in the current multi-chain environment, and it's also approaching like real value applications. So firstly, cross-chain lending enables user to borrow and lend assets across different blockchain networks, allowing for greater flexibility and access to liquidity. This can help to reduce barriers, like for the user, like to entry. Someone maybe have like previously been limited by the like liquidity available on a single blockchain network. So the top lending project like Aave will also support cross-chain lending in version v3. But this feature is not yet online yet. So just like everyone know, like Uniswap V3 will be deployed to the BNP chain. The choice of whitelist cross-chain bridge is also like a controversial. It's like a controversial topic. So cross-chain trading also offers like a significant benefit by like enabling like user to trade asset across multiple blockchain networks by providing better price discovery and reducing the risk of market manipulation. This can help to promote the more like efficiency and the transparent market. Everyone in the market they want like transparent, as same as the efficiency at the same time. So allowing for greater like participation and investment in the DeFi ecosystem. Additionally, the introduction of cross-chain lending and trading features can also help to increase the interoperability between different blockchain networks, promoting great integration and collaboration between different protocols and platforms. This can help to foster innovations and the development within the DeFi ecosystem. As developer can leverage the benefit of different blockchain networks to create more sophisticated and robust applications. So moreover, cross-chain lending and trading also enable the movement of assets between different blockchains, promoting greater liquidity and reducing fragmentations within the DeFi system. This can help to reduce the risk associated with the investing in multiple blockchain networks and provide a more like seamless experience for users who may wish to move assets between like different platforms. This one is like a pinpoint for like a majority of the users like these days in the market.
No, thank you, Lexi. Thank you. And thank you to all of our speakers. Actually, that's all we have time for today. Great answers from absolutely all of our speakers, and that definitely deserves a round of applause on one of the next AMAs in the future. Again, thank you everybody for attending. If you haven't already, please do remember to go and check out all of our socials, press that little bell for notifications, make sure you don't miss out, join our community for the latest news and updates, and of course be sure to go and check out all the projects of our speakers today. They're obviously doing some really amazing and great things. We look forward to seeing you all on the next episode of MetaTalk, and have a great day. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for having us. It was a real pleasure, and you are a very nice community to talk to.
Yeah, thank you everyone for like the insightful discussion today. It's very inspiring, and really appreciate. Yeah, we had a good time. Thank you. Really happy to having me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.